Well, it's a great pleasure to welcome to What's Next, BCX and Aruba, and we're going to be having a panel discussion and discussing some really cool, interesting technologies that are very pertinent to all of us today. So a great pleasure to welcome Neo Phukubje, who's the Executive Channel and Business Development at BCX Wireless. Also Prashil Gareeb, who is the Managing Executive for Wireless Solutions at BCX. Mandy, Duncan, who's the Aruba Country Manager for South Africa, and also Darisé Kirby, who's the Product Manager for Wi-Fi 6, joining us on this particular conversation. Great to see all of you, despite the load shedding. I know you've all got generators and all backup power and all sorts of things. We were all worried about COVID. Now we're worried about having enough power, but I guess we will overcome this as well. Now, you and I, Prasheel, go back a long way. I don't want to give our ages away, but I started dealing with you when ADSL started coming on board. Now we are giving our age away, Prasheel, but let's talk about BCX Wireless. Who is BCX Wireless, Prasheel?
Okay, so BCX Wireless is a combination of a few parts of telecom into one business unit. About 25 years ago, the group Fastnet was created to service the national payment system, which we did quite effectively, and we still do it today. We service the majority of banks in terms of transfer of traffic from the credit card terminals into the receiving banks. But we've evolved, and we've now redefined ourselves into three pillars: fixed wireless access, which incorporates our entire microwave portfolio, satellite portfolio, as well as LTE, which is 4G evolving into 5G. We've got a machine-to-machine, which again talks to the legacy that I spoke to, but now includes any form of IoT connectivity that we have to offer to clients. And then there's the wireless LAN portfolio. As we are today, we've got close on to 15 to 20,000 enterprise nodes covered through wireless connectivity in any of those formats. We cover more than 200,000 M2M nodes in South Africa. So it's quite an intricate part of the wireless or the BCX converged communication strategy. It's just growing as fast as the market is growing, and I'm quite proud to be part of that organization.
Wow, that's quite like a broad portfolio. You think wireless, you think Wi-Fi hotspots, etc. But I guess what I'm hearing from you is anything else that's not fiber, that's kind of distributed wirelessly, is basically what you guys cover. Now, Wi-Fi 6 is a very, very important part of that. Neo and Darisé, Wi-Fi 6. What does Wi-Fi 6 mean to BCX?
Thank you, Aki. Well, BCX as an end-to-end solutions provider, right, has always been providing wireless connectivity as an option for LAN extension, especially for our enterprises. So from a global perspective, we've seen growth rates of up to 13% in the demand for Wi-Fi services, which has opened the door for quite a few types of applications for which Wi-Fi 6 is quite key. So, for example, you've mentioned that sometimes, you have inconsistent indoor cellular coverage. Wi-Fi 6 is a strong contender there because it's able to work as a 5G cellular on-ramp to enable seamless connectivity for users that are in motion. Also, as more and more people are going back into the workplace, there's a requirement to manage this complex workplace technology. So wireless LANs are slowly becoming the natural center for convergence as IoT technology is growing. We've got more than just your Wi-Fi, but we are also looking at surveillance and sensors and those type of things. And lastly, I think another key thing is, there's a move towards the intelligent edge, right? So Wi-Fi 6 can bridge connectivity with compute and analytics, right? So it makes it easier for people to connect and things at the edge, apps and data in the cloud, and enable organizations to be able to control them both locally and be able to action them at the edge.
Okay, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And it's obviously a big part of the portfolio is Wi-Fi 6, right, Darisé?
Yes, it's a very big portfolio portion in BCX, and it's a big bet. So we focus a lot on that and to offer the customers the next generation technology and the ability to focus to the future and making sure that the business critical requirements are met.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Now, I mean, this partnership is an interesting one with Aruba, and it's not a new partnership. You guys have been together for a while. Prasheel, I mean, tell us about the partnership that you have with Aruba, and how did Aruba help to achieve what we're talking about today?
So I think just to set the scene, in our approach to selling Wi-Fi 6 is not as a technology, but rather as a managed solution. So a lot of our clients in the last couple of years have been evolving from just using it as LAN extension, this capability, to being an integral part of their business model. And the type of use cases we'll talk to now sort of showcase where we're going. But the approach my team has taken in terms of creating the Wi-Fi 6 Center of Excellence has been to create a managed solution to clients, from design to implement to support at the end of the day. And in order to do that, we definitely need backing from the strongest OEMs in the world, HPE Aruba being definitely one of the best. So from that point of view, we've relied on them quite a bit to get into training our teams, making sure that we've got the right tools and understanding the full basket of services that they offer, also helping us in terms of selling. So we take a very strong sell with approach rather than selling just through the line their hardware and licensing. What I'm quite proud to announce is that we've signed a managed services partner agreement with HPE Aruba about 24 months ago, which has allowed us then to get quite a bit more aggressively to the market with better value propositions, better pricing in terms of bulk and at deal level on specific clients. And then we've also started targeting clients together to make sure that our joint value proposition is well understood, well marketed, and used by our clients, not just in terms of selling them the hardware, but through the entire life cycle of that journey that BCX takes with them.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, and what a great partnership. I mean, we've had HPE Aruba on What's Next on several occasions, Mandy. And I mean, this is, it's great to hear the company's DNA, which is like, you know, doing Wi-Fi and wireless communications so well. And of course, security baked into your product. Why Aruba with BCX, Mandy? Why are you guys growing this relationship?
So I think, you know, Prashil and Neo spoke to us. Aruba is an edge to cloud platform. So we have the same philosophy as a partnership. All the data is generated at the edge, and it's what we do with it and how we secure it. But the true relevance of a strong partnership is relevance to each other. And I think that's what BCX has really brought to the table. As Aruba, we are very focused on the business outcomes of the customer. So our approach is very vertical. We have a solution per vertical, and BCX has always had a very similar philosophy. So very strong in retail, strong in healthcare, and it's how we build those solutions together. On the back of that, it's also their ability to deliver the large footprint they have, and also their technical skills. They have a vast array of technical solution engineers that work with our team, but it's a partnership, right? So I think what's been key over the last few months is how we've engaged together. So to Prashil's point, it's how we target customers together, how we hold each other's hand and build long-term customers that, you know, we can keep on our books for a long time. And then talking around the managed service partnership that we signed BCX up with, that's really how we see the future, right? People want to consume and pay for it while they're consuming. They don't want to pay for something upfront. They don't necessarily have that cash flow with the changes over the last 18 months. So how can BCX give the customer that end-to-end service on a monthly or subscription-based model? And that's really the future for Aruba is our as a service, software as a service, network as a service, and now the managed service provider program. So really excited about where this partnership is heading.
Mandy, you mentioned as a service just a second ago. Why specifically Aruba's as a service?
I think well, I know that we have the end-to-end solution. So like I was saying, with our technology and our new edge services platform we've created a platform that seamlessly helps you onboard what's needed for the customers. So the products, the technology is seamless to adopt. it's then very secure. So these days with customers, with our companies working from home, we've taken an organization that would have had one IT department at their head office. Now you have 500 IT departments because everyone's working from home. So security, very, very key, how we manage that service. And then lastly, we wrap it up around analytics. So what do we do with the data? How do you offer a better service? And then to deliver that as a service platform, meaning all of that functionality is given to you, whether it's the software as a service or the physical hardware as a service, can all be procured through BCX. The reason behind that is purely, like I said, people they're hesitant to pay up front for any technology. They want to see it working. They want to grow as fast as the company grows, or shrink at times when they're shuffling resources. So it's that ability to adapt to the new environment.
Okay, that's very interesting. I mean, now we were just touching on earlier on, the different technologies. Prasheel was talking about it. Mandy was talking. You spoke about it as well. When you look at the clients that at BCX that you are going to be focusing on, what type of clients are you focusing on for these technologies?
Well, Aki, what we've seen in the market is that customers are looking for tailor-made solutions and technology that gives them more flexibility and better performance. So in essence, more of a productivity tool to meet their business needs, right? We have sold and implemented these solutions, predominantly in the financial services and retail space. But what we're seeing is more and more of a demand for Wi-Fi 6 in the mining, manufacturing, and logistics industries. And mainly this is due to the increasing opportunity for automation in those environments. In the retail space, there's also quite a huge demand for analytics through Sky-Fi, which enables the enterprises to get more insights from their customers. And in public sector, where we're currently busy with a very large deployment that will require high usage per site, we're seeing more and more demand for these Wi-Fi services as well. So like Mandy spoke about earlier, it's quite a variety of vertical solutions that are tailor-made to the client's actual needs.
And I guess, Mandy, as well, to your point, is that with this whole digitization that is taking place, I mean, if you just look at what's happened in the last 18 months since COVID really impacted us globally, everything's kind of been fast-tracked. So I imagine there's a lot more of this digitization that's coming through, and lots of other customers joining in, that you must be seeing some interesting case examples.
Very true. And I think the conversation around digital transformation is so much more exciting. Customers don't come to us and say, can you build a network? A retail chain will come to us and ask us, how do we control the movements of the customers within their retail stores? How do we advertise digitally? Again, a BCX offering, they can build digital platforms for the customers. So it's no longer a hardware discussion. It's now, what outcome are you looking for? So what does a retailer want? They want foot in store as well as customers purchasing online. How do you give a retail customer in-store the same fast experience as you do online? And those are the type of conversations we're having. Automation in the mining space, as Neo spoke to, how can we consolidate these vast manufacturing sites, how we can monitor products flowing amongst the warehouse, how we can monitor, kind of theft of different, of smaller components. So the exciting part is it's not about the hardware anymore. It's not about, how many access points can I buy? It's what is your outcome? And then how, as a team between BCX and Aruba, how together we can build that solution. And there will be times we bring in other ecosystem partners. Sky-Fi is one of the key ecosystem partners we work with. So It's really building a full solution to deliver a business outcome. And I think that's what is making the networking and that edge space so exciting these days. It's not a hardware discussion.
Yeah, I'm sure it must be such an exciting conversation to have with your customers, Neo, when you talk about the benefits and bringing the customer first, really, with this digitization that Mandy was talking about, and customers are saying to you, this is what we want, and the pace at which data is moving these days, I guess is what the customers are coming to you and saying, this is what we want, and you're giving them those benefits.
Absolutely, Aki. I mean, one of the major benefits that Wi-Fi 6 gives to enterprises, right, among some of the other things, is obviously the homogeneous user experience that they would have, right? The increased throughput that you get, because you get speeds of up to 11 gigabits per second from a LAN point of view. There's also benefits around reduced latency with the OFMDA modulation that comes with this new Wi-Fi 6 technology. Greater signal strength, obviously, we spoke about how the poor strength that you have, and also around the number of APs that you're able to deploy within a space to be able to optimally create, a mesh in that environment. It gives also a lower cost to invest and to operate as well, which is something that our enterprises are quite keen on. There's also a huge component around power efficiency of devices. As we've seen in the IoT space, there's a proliferation of devices, and that's something that's going to keep on growing into the future. But one major key thing that I think is quite critical as well is also the improved network security that you get with Wi-Fi 6, because of the WPA3 that is built in to enable encryption within the technology itself.
Yeah.
So lots of benefits for our enterprises that they would get from the Wi-Fi 6 technology as opposed to the older Wi-Fi options that are available.
And I guess with at BCX, the fact that you've got so many of these different technologies, these wireless technologies, you give your customers a bouquet and a choice, right? Because in some areas you might not have a certain technology available, in others you do. So you really are doing covering a lot more bigger area and giving your customers that flexibility to decide on which of those technologies to use. And I think that's fantastic, because the reality is we're living in a massive country and we're covering vast areas, and if you look at some of the remote customers that you might have, I guess that flexibility comes in really, really handy. This is the magic quadrant for wireless and wireless LAN access infrastructure, and I guess this is quite an interesting slide on how Aruba, for example, has been performing over the past 2 years, and why has Gartner positioned Aruba as leaders for the past 15 years running? I mean, this is an amazing accolade. So Aruba is right there, and I guess this is why this is such a great partnership between BCX. I mean, when Gartner says this is where you feature, and you feature so highly, that is a fantastic achievement. Now, Aruba is also the leader in all the quadrants in the critical capabilities report. So Mandy, this is fantastic.
Yeah, Aki, I mean, it's something to really be proud of. The independent Gartners and IDCs are always a valuable measurement of how we're performing. But to your point, the 15-year accolade is outstanding. But I think when you read into the reasons behind the accolade, and the latest one really talks to what we're saying here, and Gartner's, their comments were, and I actually jotted them down verbatim, is really that Aruba is able to solve user cases across different verticals. And I think besides the physical technology, the fact Wi-Fi 6, all of our products have moved to Wi-Fi 6, the fact that we're able to address key user cases is what puts us there as a leader. So it's not one size fits all. And as you say, super proud achievement, and long may it continue. Silver Peak coming on board now has also added to that quadrant and that ranking. So really proud of the achievements.
Mandy, earlier you touched on Aruba's position and, the messaging, for example, working from home, the hybrid workplace. I guess that's brought many different challenges, but with Aruba's technology, that becomes really useful in these kind of environments.
It has, and a lot of people have come, literally the first few weeks we were home, we had organizations coming to us saying, help, how do we get people up and running at home? How do we manage it centrally? How is it secure? So I think the future is definitely going to remain hybrid. And as I mentioned earlier, only 20% of our South Africa workforce is starting to go back. And we will have the option in the future to work in both scenarios. But it's how we take enterprise solutions to the home user, firstly. But I don't see that hybrid model changing. And through the managed service program that BCX are a member of, they can offer that in any form, in any size. And in the past, we were always viewed as an enterprise-only company. Our portfolio has grown extensively. So we can now offer it to the hairdresser and the coffee shop, at a small shopping center, all the way up to a 5,000 user enterprise type scenario. So different packages to meet those needs. And like I say, I think that work from home is going to be here for a long time. I know I was reading a PwC analysis the other day, and they were saying that the last study they did, which was 6 months ago, is that only 19% of the South Africa population want to go back to the office. So we might find organizations wanting to bring staff back, but the staff members being hesitant. So I think it's a long road, and these solutions are going to be more and more relevant over the next year.
You know, I was just at an office today, and there were some people that were coming back for the first time in 18 months. And I went there for a meeting, and everybody was like, they didn't know what to do. It's like such a weird thing, you know, the people spoke about the distraction of the noise. And interestingly, people complained about the Wi-Fi network at home is faster than the Wi-Fi network at work, for example. So there's all these like nuances of getting back. And I guess people also think that they're a lot more productive working from home. So who knows? It's going to be an interesting one. I mean, what are those trends that you're seeing for 2021 and going forward to 2022? I mean, IT spend, I'm sure AI is big there. Remote work, I guess, will continue. Hybrid work, as you mentioned, edge to cloud, security as a service. I mean, we often hear about security as a service. So what trends are you seeing at Aruba?
Over the last, I'd say 4 months and into the new year, we really see opportunity around healthcare and hospitality, education, and talking a lot to the work from home scenario. You know, students have to learn from home. Hospitality's gone through a terrible dip because of us all being locked away and not able to go anywhere. So we're seeing the hospitality area as a big opportunity as the hotels open up. What does that hotel look like now? How is it seamless touching of door handles, for example? How's it a digital booking, you know, experience at the front door? So how are the new protocols going to affect hospitality, and what solutions can we build for them on their network platform? Education as well, like I said, a lot of the schools have been closed, the universities have gone back later. So how do we provide that online learning solution to the user at home? How do we provide it to a student who doesn't have access to fiber, for example? I mean, we don't provide fiber, but it doesn't matter if you have an access point and a link. How do you actually connect? So we're seeing education, healthcare, certainly two big areas. Manufacturing, as Neo spoke to, a third one, and then retail very much so. You know, we have a lot of empty malls. How do we help them make their network become a money generating platform? So how do we promote specials and pull people into the stores through their networks, through the digital platforms, and grow their revenue? Because it's the challenge. So I'd say those are really the four key areas that we see in the future. And then, like we've said, Wi-Fi 6 is an inflection point, right? It's like the cell phone we had, it's like the PC we had. So it's the backbone of our technology going forward. But those four verticals are where we see it going. And then Raptor as a service. So how you consume it is going to come in very different forms. It won't just be paying for it upfront.
Fantastic. And I see lots of opportunity there as well. Darisé and Neo, just wrapping up, I mean, what are your customers telling you? Where are you guys seeing the trends? What are you hearing out there? Let's start with you, Darisé.
So what we're seeing in the trends in the current market is customers want us to look at their current infrastructure, their legacy infrastructure, and see how we can improve it. So then we basically go to site, we do a site survey, we look at what the customer has, we do a redesign of the environment, we tell them what to use, and in this case, Aruba is the best option to go with, and then you get your centralized control with that.
But let me go to you, Neo. I mean, I'm sure you're going to, echo what Darisé has just said, because it's interesting what your customers are asking you for.
No, absolutely, Aki. And I think the key thing that Darisé was saying was what our customers want more than anything is to be able to have more control, right? So being able to remotely control and manage their environments, being able to get more efficiency out of the technology that they have. So it's quite critical that, you know, from an optimal planning perspective, in terms of how do you actually deploy, that we are able to help our customers and drive them to make sure that they have the best outcomes for the technology that they put into place.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
And Prasheel, finally from you, I mean, you've been around for a while in this business, in the technology sector. You've seen interesting things. What trends are you seeing? And I guess BCX is tapping in on all of this opportunity, hence the portfolio that you are really focusing on and growing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not just in the wireless space. I mean, we're talking to things like 5G and LEO and all of that. And the proud thing that the pride I have is that we're participating in a lot of those things, especially with our sister company being Telkom Mobile.
Yes.
Partners in the market are coming to us because we've got access to clients and we can test these technologies with, whether it's in the traditional retail or financial services or even in public and industrial mining. That's where the growth is going to come from, especially with 4IR. Right, we're seeing the evolution towards SD-WAN, but we've taken it a step up. We're moving towards technologies like ACI and the proper software defined. But that evolution is coming back to the branch with edge computing and in-branch connectivity. So you know what, like you said, we've got the building block for any scenario. And what we love to do is not to sell components. We sell solutions. Every part of our value proposition to client is about giving you a managed experience, giving you that thought leadership up front to help you to put your requirements down, build a solution with you, help you to go through your motivation cycle, and then implement it together with you for the rest of the time you need to use the technology. So whatever is coming out in the future, BCX is at the forefront of it. And yeah, I think this partnership and this portfolio, as we're talking about it, is one of the examples of how quickly we can take new stuff to market together with where the clients are. So South Africa doesn't have to be lagging behind.
Yeah.
Yes, you spoke about ADSL earlier. That was years ago. We're now well past that into gigabit type speeds at a fraction of the cost it was before. So those barriers aside, I think BCX is up for the challenge for any enterprise, from your SOHO all the way to your corporate client.
Fantastic. Darisé Kirby, Product Manager for Wi-Fi 6. Neo Phukubje, who's the Executive Channel and Business Development at BCX Wireless. Also a big thanks to Prashil Gareeb, who's the Managing Executive for Wireless Solutions at BCX. And a big thanks to you, Mandy Duncan, who is the Aruba Country Manager for South Africa. A great conversation, great technologies, and we wish you all strength and good luck going forward. I mean, this is where the world is moving towards and evolving, and boy, oh boy, COVID has changed so many of the parameters, but certainly BCX and Aruba are ready for that challenge, as you just mentioned, Prasheel. Guys, thank you for joining us on What's Next.
Thank you, Aki.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Aki.